All right, I'm gonna start off this video by saying, do you really expect, like, did the commentators really expect, or did anyone watching this fight, did you guys really expect Floyd Mayweather Jr. to knock out Logan Paul? Because I certainly did not. The fight went the distance. Now keep in mind, this was an exhibition fight, so it had no judges. It had no judges, or it does not count in anyone's record, whether because it was an exhibition fight. It was not a actual fight. Um, but if it was an actual fight, if there was judges, Mayweather would have been the victor because he clearly won the fight. He clearly won way more rounds. I basically gave him every round. But throughout the fight, the commentators just kept, like, it's almost like they kept hoping and praying that Mayweather was eventually gonna knock out Paul. They were like, that was eventually gonna knock out Logan Paul. They were like, maybe this round he's gonna catch him and he's gonna stop him. He's gonna be aggressive. Mayweather is a guy who he's never been known as a puncher. Number one, all right. He's never been known as a puncher. Even in his prime, he wasn't a puncher. B, he's so much naturally smaller than Logan Paul, right? Mayweather is a guy who turned pro as a featherweight. He was, featherweight, super featherweight, 130. 130. He's a guy who at his highest, he fought at a light middleweight, right? 154. Logan Paul is a guy who walks around as a cruiserweight. He's a 6'2" guy, and he walks around at 200 pounds. He is naturally the way bigger guy, right? So if Floyd Mayweather Jr. was not a puncher, if he was not knocking guys out when he was, in the lower weight classes, if he was not knocking guys out in the lower weight classes when he was in his prime, how do you expect him to knock out a guy who is so much naturally bigger than him? I get it. You're gonna say, oh, because Logan Paul has no experience. Yes, he doesn't have no experience, but he's still naturally bigger than Mayweather, and Mayweather is not a puncher. So that's why I was not surprised, and I kept laughing and giggling every time I heard the commentators, like, basically hoping that Mayweather was gonna win via knockout or get the knockout or at least a knockdown. Now, when this fight happened, by the way, I did not pay to see this fight because there's no way I'm gonna pay to see a fight like this. But I do still think is a good thing for boxing because I think it brings a lot of young eyes to boxing. For example, a lot of Logan Paul's subscribers probably tuned in to watch this fight and watch him fight Mayweather, thinking that he had a chance. Right? Maybe they become long-term fans of boxing after this, so it's a good thing for the sport. But there was no way I was gonna pay to watch this exhibition fight, so I basically streamed it illegally. So yeah, I'm pretty sure millions of people did it too. Okay, but the first 3 rounds, in my opinion, Logan Paul showed like his most ambition. He was trying. He looked really bad. Like he just looked really amateurish. But he was trying. Like he was trying to do something. He kept leaning. But it seems like after round 3, he just really gassed out. He was tired, and Mayweather picked up on this, and Mayweather started going to the body. Mayweather was being aggressive in this fight. You know how he fought this fight? He fought this fight the way he fought Conor McGregor, the Conor McGregor fight. He was kind of marching forward just like he fought McGregor, and it looked like he was holding back. But kudos to Logan Paul because Logan Paul went the distance with Floyd, and Conor McGregor could not go the distance. So that's one thing he could say. He could say, I went longer than Conor McGregor did. You know what I'm saying? But what happened in this fight is after like round 3, round 4, Logan Paul started really tiring out. He started like getting really tired, and he mostly was grabbing on. Like for the majority of the second half of the fight, he was just hugging Mayweather a lot because I just think he was tired. Mayweather was throwing check left hooks. He was throwing body shots. He was landing a few counter punches here and there. Occasionally, Logan Paul will land some punches, grazing punches, but nothing that hurt Floyd at all. Mayweather could not hurt Logan Paul. Again, there's a massive size difference. He's so much naturally bigger than him, and the fact that he's never been a puncher to begin with. So I don't know why people are surprised that he couldn't knock out what's his name, Logan Paul. it was kind of it wasn't really the most entertaining fight, to be honest with you. It was kind of a lame fight. One thing I'll say is, Mayweather definitely looks his age, though. He's a 44-year-old fighter, a guy. And if he was, it makes sense as to why he's not taking risky fights and actually making a comeback. you know, at his age. He hasn't actually fought a professional fighter since he fought Andre Berto in 2005 and 15. So it's been 6 years since he's actually had a actual fight. Um, and I don't think he should come back, and he's not gonna come back because he's all about trying to take the least risk fights and get the biggest rewards out of it. And that's why he's taking these easy fights. But he looks like he's slowed down. He looks his age, Mayweather. He gets hit a lot more. He does not look as sharp as he did when he was younger. So this is why it explains why he's not fighting, actual fighters out there. Because if he was in there with somebody who was actually a good fighter, he'll be in a lot of trouble. I think he'll have a hard night's work against him if he had like somebody who had actual talent in there. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. There's really not much to it. It was just a very predictable fight where a guy, this is a massive payday. Congrats, Logan Paul, man. Logan Paul's lucky, man. He gets to make all this money fighting Mayweather. I believe he got paid 20-something million dollars for this, which is crazy, man. He's basically a regular guy just going in there to fight Mayweather for such a large amount of money, which is absolutely insane. Anyway, guys, that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching.